Okay, so here are our rules for our first example. We have x to the 1 over 4. So before I told you there was a root and there was a power. Okay, the bottom number is my root. So what's my root here? 4. And then what's my power going to be? 1. Okay, so if I write this, I like to start by having a radical. Okay, you told me that the root is 4. What goes inside the radicals? An x, and then what was the power again? 1. Do I have to write x to the 1 power? No, so I can just write the 4th root of x, and that's the answer, because it's saying rewrite an equivalent radical expression in the simplest form. So that's the answer for number 1. Okay. Now for number 2. What's the root for number 2? 2. Good. So if I fill that in, I have the second root, or the square root, of, what's the power? 1. And then what's the thing that goes inside? 15. And then I'm going to put it in parentheses because it all gets the exponent. Okay. Now I can distribute that 1 through, but it just gives me 15n. Do I have to write my 2 as my index? Do I have to write this 2 right here?
Yes.
I do. No, because it's the square root. So I can write this answer as the square root of 15n and leave it. What'd you say? If you put the 2, it's right, but I won't write the 2. So I don't want you to get confused when you see me not writing a 2. Are these first 2 okay? You ready for number 3? It does get a little bit harder, but not too much. Number 3. Okay. What is the root for number 3?
3.
Good. So I have a cube root. What's my base? What goes inside? 24. And what's my power? 1. Okay. Now, this is the cube root of just 24. Am I done with this question? Why not? Yeah. It's a simplest form, and you guys, I heard a few of you say you can simplify it. So how do I simplify 24? Can I simplify? Okay, so before we go on, Diego said, can't I simplify 15? It was a square root. The only factors of 15 are 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. So no, that one can't be, but it's always good to check. So this one is, I can do 2 and 12, which is then 2 and 6, which is 2 and 3. And how big do my groups need to be? I need groups of 3, so I can take out this 2. Cube root of 3 is my final answer. Okay, is this too crazy? Yes. Okay. What about number 4? What's the root for number 4? 2. Good. What goes inside? Okay. And what about my power? 7. Good. Is that fully simplified? How many times does 2 go into 7? 3 times. So I have 3 k's that come out. And what's the remainder? Just a k. And if you forget, because we went over this last week, I will write the expanded version 1 time. So k to the 7th is the same as... Isn't that k to the 7th? I need groups of 2. So I have 3 groups of 2 and this leftover k inside. Does that make sense? Okay. I have 4 more before some U-trips. Three to the 5/4. What's the root on this one? 4. What goes inside? 3. And what's the power? It's a 5. Okay. Is that fully simplified? No. Now, on your special powers paper, right, you have 3 to the 5th power, don't you? Do you need to find what 3 to the 5th power is? No. Instead, I can see how many times does 4 go into 5? 1 time. And what's my remainder? 1. So again, this is just like the previous one. And I'll expand this one too. So I need a group of 4 to come out with the remainder left inside. Did I have to do any multiplication to solve what 3 to the 5th power was? No, I'm just simplifying. Okay. Number 6. What does number 6 have that the other few haven't had? Variables. Okay, what else does it have? Parentheses. So what's inside the parentheses? A, B. So that means that this exponent is applying to both of those things. So whatever I do, it happens to A and B at the same time. So what's my root? What is my index going to be? 4. The bottom number is a 4. Okay. Then what goes inside? AB in parentheses, and that is cubed because that's my power. Now you can leave this as the answer, or you can write the 4th root of A cubed, B cubed. Those are equivalent ways of writing it. Okay. I know we haven't really stopped for the questions we have before we move on. Is this pretty okay so far? We have 2 more. And then some U-tries. Number 7. What does that one have that the other ones haven't? A negative. So we're going to see what happens with the negative in this case. So what is my root? Good. What goes inside? Negative 6x, and Danielle said in parentheses. And then what's my power from all of you? 2. Good. And much like the last one, I'm going to distribute through. What is negative 6 quantity squared? Positive 36. And I have an x squared as my final answer. And then finally we have 8. That's our last example for this type. What is going on with number 8? Diego says, oh wow. Why is he saying, oh wow? Yeah, because there's a coefficient. Because why, Jessica? Because there's a number outside the parentheses. So do you see how there's a 7 outside? What do I do with that 7? I don't get rid of and I don't distribute yet. I will multiply. So for now, I'm going to leave it. Because it doesn't get the exponent or the root or anything like that, okay? So how do I turn 12w to the 1/2 into a radical? What is the root for that radical? 2. And then I have 12w to the 1st power with the 7 outside. Okay, which is just 7 times the square root of 12w. Is that fully simplified? Can I break 12 down even more? Okay, what are 12's factors? 4 and 3, or 6 and 2. And 6 breaks up. I have a group of 2's. And 3 stays inside. And I still have this w. So I have 7 times 2 times the square root of 3w. So my answer is 14 radical 3w. Can you try the U-tries? There's 6 of them. I'm going to give you about 6 minutes. Okay, let's check out the U-tries. Here were the questions. Here. Okay, flip to the back side. Flip to the back side. Okay, these ones are in radical form, and now they're going to exponential form. So, what is my base? What is the thing that's inside? 16. Okay, so we're going to start by writing that. What's my root? What goes on the bottom? 3. And what's the power? 1. Okay, good. So that would be an answer. On tonight's homework, some of them say write it in two equivalent ways, so I'm going to show you an equivalent way for this one, okay? So 16, I can break that up into 4 and 4, which is 2, 2, 2, 2, right? So I can write this as the cube root of, 2 to the 4th power. Do you understand how I got that? Yeah. Okay. Because 16 is 2 to the 4th power. So if I wanted to do that in red, what is the base for my red problem? What is the base? What's the big number inside? 2. Good. Okay, what is the root? What goes on the bottom? And what is the power up on the top? 4. So these are equivalent. Okay. Either of those is right for this one. Okay, on number 16, what is the base? What is the thing that goes at the bottom? X, Y. Okay, good. What is the root? 2. Good. And what is the power? Okay, if you write this on a quiz or a test, it's wrong. What's wrong with it? Yes. Okay, I have to put some parentheses. Like this. The parentheses are imperative. That's a good SAT word because you guys are taking it. What does imperative mean?
Important.
Vital. Absolutely vital. Because if you don't, intrinsic is like internal though. That's not correct for this one. I like that word too though, Sam. So if I don't write parentheses, this is pretty much what I'm writing. And is that the same thing as my question? No. Yes, Helene. How did I get the 1/2? Because this is a 2 right here, and my power is a 1. When I don't write a number, it's always 2. And when there's no power written, it's always 1. Okay? Do you understand why I need parentheses on this one? Sometimes the problem will give you parentheses, but on this one it didn't. You had to figure out that there were parentheses. Let's look at the next one. Number 17. Shh, we're almost done. What's the base for number 17? Okay, good. What is the root of my exponent? And what is the power? There, you're done. Okay.
That's it?
Yeah. Number 18. Number 18. What is the base? 3m. And what does it have that we have to include? Good. We have to put that in parentheses. So listen, please. There are multiple things inside the radical. Put them all in parentheses. That's how we know, okay? What is the root of this? 2. Good. And what is the power? 7. So we can write it like this. You can also, and this is probably what I would like you to do, is 3 to the 7/2 m to the 7/2. Those mean the same thing. I didn't do that on the other one, but it's the same idea. And I got that by using the power rule. Remember when we distribute. Okay, I have 2 more for you, and then you have about 8 minutes to do some U-tries. Okay. 2 more. Number 19. What's happening with number 19? A lot. Okay, but we're gonna do the same idea. What is inside? What's my base? Negative 2a. And what do I have to do with negative 2a? What do I have to do? Parentheses. Are you all following along? Hello? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Just making sure. I'll start pulling your names. Okay, what is my root?
4.
And what is my power? Which is also, if I distribute this through, I have to leave the negative 2 in parentheses because remember, it will change my answer. And then a to the 5/4. Those are equivalent, okay? And then finally, there's number 20. There's 2 different ways to do number 20. Some of you will like the first way. Some of you will like the second way. But I will show you both, okay? The first way is what we've been doing. So what's inside? How do I find what's inside? What's my base? 9x to the 7th. Y to the 4th. Okay, so I have 3 different terms. I put that in parentheses since it's inside. What is the root? And then what is the big power that's outside? 1, okay? So I can write this as 9x to the 7th, y to the 4th, like this, okay? But I do need to distribute or use my power rule to go through like this. So I end up with 9 to the 1 times 1/3, x to the 7 times 1/3, and y to the 4 times 1/3. So I can put a 1 underneath each of my whole numbers, and I get 9 to the 1/3, x to the 7/3, and y to the 4/3. Okay. Now from last week, some of you liked it better when I separated the radical from the beginning when we were simplifying. So I can also write this as the cube root of 9 times the cube root of x to the 7th times the cube root of y to the 4th. Bless you. So when I separate the problem, now I have 9 to the, what's the root? What's the root? Okay, and what's that power? Okay. For x, what's the root? 3 still. What's the power? 7. And for y, what's the root? 3. And what's the power? So I get the same thing both ways. There's just 2 different methods, okay? Can you do the last 4 you tries for me? That's the last thing I have for you. You have about 3 minutes because we have 5 minutes left. Here are your you tries. I'll wait. I still have a minute. Okay, here are your answers for the you tries. Okay, can you show me? Listen carefully. There are 4 questions. Show me with your fingers. How many of them did you get right?
All, but